insights from Robert Cialdini's Influence, brought to you by InstaRead. Getting what you want is not as hard as you might think. It starts by knowing how to persuade others to give it to you. This is where the classic book Influence, The Psychology of Persuasion by Robert B. Cialdini comes in. First published in 1984, Influence became a staple in the field of influence and persuasion. Cialdini explores the 6 main weapons of influence through a varied collection of studies and experiments that expose just how easy it can be for humans to be manipulated into doing things they normally would refuse. More importantly, he provides tactics and tips that will help you recognize when those weapons are being used to influence you so that you can adequately counter them. Insight number 1. People like to say yes. It makes them feel good. And if you want to get them to say yes, you should ask them in a way that makes them feel good about saying yes. Number 2. There are 6 weapons of influence: reciprocation, commitment and consistency, social proof, liking, authority, and scarcity. Mastering these weapons can unlock vast potential in all areas of life. More important, it can also help you recognize when they're being used against you, so you know when you're being manipulated. Number 3. The rule for reciprocation says that when someone does something for us, we feel indebted to them and try to repay them. In other words, people feel obligated to return favors. The rule of reciprocity is so powerful that it can cause people to give up everything they have and even die to pay back a debt. One of the greatest examples of reciprocity is Ethiopia gifting Mexico a sum of $5,000 in aid following the 1985 earthquake in the latter. Ethiopia had one of the most struggling economies in the world and a starving population. Even $5,000 was a strain, but they felt the necessity to repay Mexico for providing aid 50 years earlier when Italy invaded Ethiopia. Number 4. When you make a commitment, you feel an urge to justify it. According to a study, in horse races, bettors are much more certain of their chances of winning in the moments after placing the bet than in the moments before. That's because when you write down something, you commit to it, and when you commit, you try to justify your commitment through means that could reach self-deception or delusion. Number 5. Consistency, just like any weapon of influence, can make people behave in ways they usually wouldn't. In an experiment, a beachgoer would leave his items on the beach next to a random subject and go swimming. In some cases, the beachgoer didn't say anything to the subject, while in others, he simply asked them to watch his things. As a result, when a robbery of an item was staged, 19 out of the 20 people who committed to guarding the items took action and stopped the robbery, while only 4 out of the 20 people who weren't spoken to did anything about it. Consistency made the spoken to group put themselves in harm's way and confront the thief in order to maintain their commitment. Number 6. The principle of social proof says that when we don't know what to do, we look around to see how other people are behaving. The more there are people doing something, the more likely we perceive it to be the right thing to do. Social proof explains why laugh tracks on television shows are so popular. We know they are artificial and that there is no audience really laughing at the jokes, but studies have shown that we are more likely to find a subpar joke funny if we hear others laughing at it. We often see ads listing the awards that a product has won or branding it as most popular or fastest growing, instead of highlighting the reasons the product is actually useful, because advertisers know the audience responds better to social proof. Number 7. We are more likely to say yes to the requests of people we know and like. Companies are known to take advantage of this fact and sell us their products through the medium of people we like celebrities or neighbours. If you want to use the liking rule to get people to say yes to you, you need to be friendly, smile a lot, make the person feel important, and start with just small favours. Physical attractiveness is an important factor in making people like you. The fact that good-looking people earn more attention, are more successful, and are treated better than others isn't surprising. It's hardwired into us. We feel like we want to mate with them, so our kids will be attractive too. Number 8. Humans have a strong tendency to defer to authority. In one experiment, a subject was tasked with helping a scientist apply increasingly high-voltage electric shocks to a victim who the subject didn't know was an actor. As the victim gradually began screaming in pain and implored the subject to stop administering the shocks, very rarely did a subject stop turning the levers. The results were shocking. Researchers thought human empathy would have prevented the subjects from following through, but most went on until the highest voltage. However, it wasn't a question of cruelty. When they examined the subjects' reactions, most of them were in visible panic, and some were even in agony over the amount of pain they thought they were causing. They implored the scientist to stop the experiment, but he refused, and they obeyed him because he was in a position of authority. Number 9. The Scarcity Principle says that opportunities seem more valuable to us when their availability is limited. The less there is of something, the more people want it. On a table where 10 people are sitting, a plate containing 3 cookies is much more enticing than one containing 20. The idea of potentially losing something is a big factor when humans make decisions. It has been proven by several studies that humans are much less inclined to lose something they already have than to gain something they don't. It's the concept of loss aversion. The scarcity principle is the driving factor behind sales at stores. The store wants you to think that they're selling out of the item, so you hurry up and get your own before anyone else does, even if you don't necessarily need it. We hope you enjoyed the insights from Robert Cialdini's Influence. Smash the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Visit instaread.co to get more insights from this and thousands of other books. Use the code YouTube to get a discount on your subscription.